In Revelation 17, verse 3, John said, "And he carried me away in the Spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, full of blasphemous names." So remember the beast in Revelation 13. On his heads were blasphemous names. Full of blasphemous names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So this is the same beast. Revelation 13, Revelation 17 give a description of the same exact beast. Now, verse 7, the angel said to me, "Why do you wonder? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and 10 horns." All right, so here we're going to get into the next few verses are somewhat difficult to understand, but I'm going to do my best to walk you through the thinking here. "The beast that you saw was and is not and is about to come up out of the bottomless pit," or the abyss. So the abyss here is abyssos in Greek, and it means the bottomless pit. Okay, actually some translations, I think even the King James translation actually uses the word, yeah, it does, comes up out of the bottomless pit. So some translations will use the word abyss, some use the bottomless pit. This beast comes up out of the bottomless pit. And so the sea in Revelation 13 says, "I saw the beast coming up out of the sea." Revelation 17 tells us, because it's the same beast, right? Both beasts have 7 heads, 10 horns, and this beast, it says, comes up out of the bottomless pit. So we have a little bit more of an understanding of what it meant when it said he comes up out of the sea. Okay, the bottomless pit, or the abyss, is a prison in hell, somewhere in hell. It's a prison where fallen spirits or evil spirits are held. And we know that to be true because of different verses in the book of Revelation. Here in Revelation 20, verses 2 and 3, it says, "And he laid hold of the dragon, the serpent of old, who is the devil and Satan, and he bound him for 1,000 years, and he threw him into the abyss." Okay, that's the same word, abyssos, and the abyss, which means bottomless pit. "And he shut it and sealed it over him, so that he would not deceive the nations any longer until the 1,000 years were completed." So this is a picture of the bottomless pit, or the abyss, being a place for a prison. So the bottomless pit is it's a jail cell of sorts for fallen spirits, and there's a key also to the bottomless pit that we see in the book of Revelation as well, which means that it's a locked up place. Okay, so this beast comes up out of the bottomless pit. How does he get out? Because if it's locked, if we see that it's a prison, it's a locked place, the question is, how does he get out of the bottomless pit? And I'm going to show you exactly where it says in the book of Revelation where this beast comes up out of the bottomless pit. Revelation 17, verse 8. He says, "And the beast that you saw, he was, and he is not, and he is about to come out of the bottomless pit." What is this referring to? Well, John had the vision back in 92 to 95 AD, somewhere in there. And at the time, there was the Roman Empire. That was what was in existence, the Roman Empire. So when it says that the beast was, it's talking about that this beast was, out and about, ruling over empire prior to the Roman Empire. Okay, this beast had, was active, and at one point in time, And then during John's day, during the Roman Empire, okay, he wasn't active. He was locked in the bottomless pit. And we know he was because it says he's about to come up out of the bottomless pit. Okay, so we go to verse 9, and we get some more of these details here. It says, here's the mind which has wisdom. The seven heads of the beast are seven mountains on which the woman sits. Okay? The seven heads are seven mountains on which the woman sits. Now, this word mountain, it's not talking about literal mountains or hills. Okay, this is figurative language. So you've probably heard, I'm sure you have, that a lot of people talk about the seven mountains of Revelation, and they say that it's this, the city on seven hills, talking about Rome or the Vatican. Okay, the seven mountains represent the Vatican. Lately, there's a teacher out there talking about that the seven mountains represent seven categories of civilization, like the economy and education and so on. This is totally incorrect. It's not biblical. And so when it says the seven heads are seven mountains on which the woman sits, and it says, and they are seven kings. Okay? So, we need to stay in the confinement of what the scriptures are saying here. The seven mountains, and there are seven kings. Obviously, that these mountains represent kingdoms of the past and also the future. Because here it says 5 have fallen. 5 of the kings or kingdoms have fallen. The one is, which is what, during John's day, one is that would be the Roman Empire, and the other the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must remain a little while. Now, I want to draw your attention to the word kings, because these kings are not human kings. They couldn't be human kings. They have to be referring to fallen angels or spiritual beings, spiritual rulers, like Gabriel said in Daniel, the prince of Persia or the prince of Greece. They're evil spirits that rule over kingdoms. All of the details of who these kingdoms are and why, but I'll just tell you who they are. It's the Egyptian kingdom, the Assyrian, and this is in order: Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece. Those are the 5 that had fallen up until that time. 5 have fallen. The 5 are, Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Grecian Empire. So John was living during the Roman Empire days. So why those 5? Why those 5? Because those 5 empires are not only mentioned in the scriptures a lot, but there are prophecies about those empires in the scriptures as well. There were other empires like the Han Dynasty and during the whole time of the Roman Empire. But those empires weren't dealt with in Scripture. These 5 kingdoms were kingdoms that, rubbed shoulders with the Jewish people and with the nation of Israel, and had a primary role in the persecution of Jews. And so this is why they're shown in the Scriptures, and there's a history, a record of their empires in the Scriptures, right? The 5 again are starting with Egypt, Assyria, then Babylon, then the Medo-Persian Empire, then the Grecian Empire. 5 have fallen. One is, that's the Roman Empire, and the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must remain for a little while. Okay? Now, It gets a little bit more interesting. The beast which you saw, which was and is not, okay, he was one of the evil spirits or satanic spirits or principalities that ruled over one of the previous 5 empires. He is not, meaning he's not around during the Roman Empire, and the reason is because he was put in the bottomless pit when whatever empire that he ruled fell, okay, by the hand of God. He was bound in the bottomless pit, this beast. So he is not, and he is himself also the 8th kingdom that is going to come. He's not the 7th kingdom, he's the 8th kingdom. And it says, and he is one of the 7. He's one of the 7, and he goes to destruction. So we can break this down to, he's not only one of the 7, but he's one of the 5. But the beast which he was one of the 5. He is not the 6th, he is the 8th. But he's one of the 7, but he's actually one of the 5 because it says here in verse, going back to verse 8, the beast that you saw, he is not, meaning that would be the 6th kingdom, Rome, and he is about to come up out of the bottomless pit. So we know he's in the bottomless pit during John's day because it says he is not. But he was previously, before the Roman Empire, ruling over one of the empires. Now, the question is which empire which one of the 5? Is it important? Well, I don't know that it's necessarily critical that we know who this satanic being is, who this fallen angel is, as far as what empire he reigned over in the past. But I think that Revelation 13, when it talks in verse 2, when it talks about, and the beast which I saw was like a leopard. Okay, the leopard represented the Grecian Empire, and his feet were like those of a bear. That represents the Medo-Persian Empire. And his mouth, like the mouth of a lion, representing the Babylonian Empire. The leopard, representing the Grecian Empire, is the most defining characteristic of the beast, and therefore I tend to think that the beast that's coming up out of the bottomless pit in Revelation 17, one and the same as the beast who is coming up out of the sea, and he is the prince that ruled over the Grecian Empire. He is one of the 5. Okay? Well, the Bible says he's one of the 7, but we can break it down even further because it says he is not, which means he wasn't the 6th. Okay? He is one of the 5, and I believe he was the ruler, the ruler that Satan put in charge over the Grecian Empire at the time. And just an interesting note that the leopard, leopards are very fast, very swift creatures, and part of the reason we think that the leopard represents the Grecian Empire, that's just one of the characteristics, is the speed at which Alexander the Great conquered the whole known world, pretty much, in just 12 short years. Nobody in history has ever done anything like it since. And you got to remember, okay, Alexander the Great didn't do that in his own human ability. He did that because he was empowered by the Prince of Grecia, which is an evil spirit, which is what I believe the evil spirit, principality that will be released in the last days that will empower the Antichrist.